Well, this record is just coming out, and it's live at the Jolly Roger.
Yeah, that takes
You
me
were
back.
there.
Oh my. Jolly Roger was still the outline of the perfect club.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it like?
It was a good-sized club, a dance floor right down the middle, tables on either side, a stage where all the microphones plugged into the floor, in the corner like a shell, you know. They had just home cooking food. They had a jukebox that you could play like old B.B. King, Mino Frisco on the Kent label and things like that. And it was like a nickel or a quarter, but this jukebox had nothing but killer tunes on it. And they'd have live music 7 days a week. They have big band swing on Sunday, and when you played there, you played 5 nights a week. That's unheard of now. But anybody coming through played 5 nights. We had a time Albert Collins come through. They said Albert Collins got canceled on his weekend, and this is like Wednesday night. We're playing all week, and they said, well, so we wanted to play Friday and Saturday. I thought, well, what's that mean for me? And he said, oh, nothing. All the money's the same. You do your thing, and then he'll come out on the last set. And it won't change anything for you. And I thought, okay. And the people that ran it had blues shows themselves. They loved the music. They knew the music. They knew who they were hiring. And we had the best time, you know, how Albert is anyway. So nothing but good memories out of Jolly Roger.
So they put Crying Won't Help You on this.
Yeah. Dug deep on that one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tell me about that song.
Well, it's old Delta style, and this is a big dance club, so it's really different for that. And I was playing with Curtis. We had a band. Curtis Salgado had a band called In Your Face, and just again a real treasured moment in my life. We never made other than this. We never made a recording or took a picture. We made no effort to promote ourselves, but all the cats in the band had the same record collection. We're on the same page, and it was a great time. So
now is Curtis on that cut?
Yeah. Well, no, he does a soul tune on there.
I've Got to Find a Way.
Got to find a way, and we did a lot of that. So this, but going back in the alley for me was kind of a change-up pitch for what we were doing. But came out good. You know who owns that record, though, is Isaac Scott, and I really miss him. Isaac Scott, and when you hear it, you'll go, oh, you know, it's all great, but Isaac Scott, forget about it.
Well, for people who don't know about Isaac Scott.
Isaac Scott, to me, is the greatest blues player to come out of the area. Well, there's some under the radar, like Ralph Black here and things that never got on the radar, but he was out there kicking it all the time, and he backed up Albert Collins a lot, but he's a great big brother, sang out of the church, so it was a voice, you know, like out of the church. It wasn't just yelling, he was singing. And he had time for days, and he had the meat on the note, you know, and it's just the kind of thing that you don't get out here enough, and I think he ruled, he owned it. Sings really good.
And Tom McFarland?
Oh man, Tom McFarland. Now he's the king of the gutter blues. He wanted to play. You couldn't find a stinky enough club for him. He wanted to be so raw that he just aimed for the bottom, you know. And it was raw. That was his thing. But he was a great songwriter. And
like
really,
Champion Jack Dupree raw?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, just ridiculous. I mean, Champion Jack Dupree would be like Uptown compared. And he went down on First Street where it just Skid Row, and he would make sure he was working on Skid Row in those clubs because he wanted the meanest club there was. He wanted to be in it. He was going to do the thing, but he loved it a lot. That's why he did that. He loved the dirt, you know. And I played drums with him for about a year, and it was a great time because he'd say the club said you got to turn down, and he'd say, let's see how quiet and how fast we can play. We're going to play real up, but I want you the quietest you can possibly do it. That was a cool challenge to deal with it. So he was...
Why quiet and fast?
So that you wouldn't go to sleep on it. A lot of people, you say, turn it way down, the band just falls asleep. And he says, no, we're not going to fall asleep. We're going to cook as quiet as you possibly can and burn. That's a really, try it. That's a challenge. Yeah. A good challenge.
Now, Paul is on here. Paul DeLay. And he's doing Tiger in Your Tank.
So Paul and I go back, way back. Curtis and I were just having a big Paul moment last night talking about, and he was digging out old cuts that he had. But Paul brought this, it was life or death with him, you know, and again why he dug so deep. And so whatever he did was 200%. Tiger in Your Tank is just him just going. Oh man, it just makes me laugh to think about that. We would listen to when we had this band together, we'd bring a Georgia Boy Snake Johnson song, and the band would just roll their eyes like, no, they just didn't get it, you know. So the funnier the better. He had a great sense of humor. That's a perfect tune. I didn't know. I forgot that. I just forgot that.
What was Paul like in those days?
Oh, he's a bundle. Like I said, everything was 200%. So he drank 200%, he played 200%, and he couldn't get home. And just that intensity never stopped. Unfortunately, he died young because of that. But when he went in, he finally got busted for dealing, and he wasn't really. It was just a mule, just to stay high, and just lost control of that. But when he went in and got sober and started writing, that was his best writing, and he came out of there, in my opinion, the best he ever was, because all that work he had done, now he put his mind to it, and it's brilliant. It'll stand the test of time. I don't think people have really fully digested how great he was yet.
And then there's Curtis in that club.
You bet there is, and he's still kicking too. Yeah, kicking and scratching the whole way. Put out a brand new CD right now.
You're a bunch of wild cats on this record, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, this is like whole movies for me. That going back and listening to this as a long gone era that was us growing up. You know, we had a lot of us had learned by playing with Big Walter and George Smith, Big Mama Thornton, Charlie Muscle White, and now we're trying to put it together and learn how to do it. You know, work it. And we're young and
how young?
Oh man, then 30s, and we've been doing this since we were 20. I mean, I've been playing music since I was 6. My brother started showing me, and I was actually he'd take me to gigs when I was 10. So it's a long time.
So have you actually heard this?
I heard it when it came out, but I haven't heard it in a long time. I heard it when it was an LP.
An LP.
Yeah.
Well, this is great that you know it's amazing that and a good thing that this thing is resurfacing, don't you think?
It's a real slice of life of this area at that time, because those were the cats that were dedicating their life to it. You know, all of them. That's all they did. It wasn't like, you know, we'll play on one Saturday a month for fun. This was their life, day in and day out, all day, all the time, and there was no questioning it. And all of us were kind of pushing each other, like, what you got? You think you got something? Let's see what you got. And you miss that sparring. That's what I miss with Paul being gone. Isaac would come to gigs, and he'd say, you come over to the house tomorrow, I'm going to show you something. And he had a Hammond organ in his living room, and he'd play Danny Boy and stuff, and he'd say, now, here's Albert Collins do a lot more than he let on, a lot more than he played on his gigs. He did this because he played with Albert for a long time, and he would play Albert Collins stuff and say, but I bet you didn't know about this. What about this? Well, this is a whole other thing and he would have those moments, and then we'd go out and he'd say, now I'm going to take you over some real soul food and tell me stories, and it'd be just just going to Seattle was like going to a museum. Then he'd show up, we'd do our gigs on our weekend, and then Sunday night I played this little zoo bar place, and he comes in. He had a derby hat, 3-piece suit, and he's ready. We're going to do business now. And I went, well, look at you. What's up? But that was his welcoming me to Seattle. I didn't know him. That was my first introduction, and I knew about him, but I didn't know him. And I thought, what a kind soul.
Well, just below this screen, there's a little green button that people can push to hear your song.
Wow.
Let's send them to it, huh?
Okay, good.